right, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that Glaive Kyo, who I kind of consider the number 2 Kurobot at this point, is back at it again, delivering another steamy dump at Hoyoverse's doorstep. And knowing who I am and knowing how much I support his content, I'm willing to get right up there and pull my pants down along with him to drop it like it's hot. And the topic for today is going to be when content creators side with Hoyoverse over players, defending Genshin's predatory systems. And so with that, let's go ahead and see what he's talking about over here and dig a little bit into it. I'm already very fascinated from the very first part of this video. So without further ado, let's get right on into it.
The unthinkable has happened. Doro 44 and Mr. Pokey, our very own knights in corporate armor, are out here victim blaming consumers and defending Hoyoverse. How did we get here? Why are content creators who thrived on community support now turning against the very people who built them up? Well, let's walk through this very messy pile of dookie because I am just as confused as you are.
Content creators that are heavily focused on one game or heavily focused on like talking good about a game, like Doro, like Mr. Pokey, it's in their best financial interest to protect the company here. To me, it isn't necessarily surprising, but it's also like, we don't also have to be this on the nose about it in the protection.
Maybe even more disappointed than ever. But before that, let's set the stage here. In case you've somehow missed it, the FTC just handed Genshin Impact developers a nice fat $20 million fine. Why? Because Hoyoverse decided to turn a game into a predatory playground, targeting kids and playing fast and loose with their wallet and personal data. Well, I'd imagine they wouldn't be a billion-dollar company without stooping this low, but I digress.
While we'll never actually know how much Hoyoverse is making from different audiences and different types of consumers, I think it is fair to say that children have very poor impulse control. When they want something, even if they don't necessarily need it or they shouldn't actually have it, they'll still want it, right? It's like the kid that asks for ice cream for 4 meals of the day when that's obviously not very good for them. And if they do have the opportunity with no supervision to choose their own meals for the day, most of them are going to choose a combination of like cookies, candy, ice cream, basically all the shit that's going to like send them to an early grave. They'll eat that without any pause. And when you apply that to a game that is, you know, inherently focused on gambling, you can imagine how that ends up turning out a bit bad.
Hoyoverse made it ridiculously easy for these people to spend money on their games without so much as a whisper of parental consent. Kids were burning through hundreds, even thousands of dollars on a PNG of a character and a weapon that,
by the way, they rigged a YouTuber's rates for a sponsor. Proof? Because if they did, that's crazy, but proof
were deliberately designed to bait them. And the worst part, the odds of actually getting those rare characters were about as slim as getting an apology from a narcissist. But
oh, Glaive. Do we need to attack somebody in every video? Can we just chill for a second here, buddy? These are unprovoked attacks. Let's be honest here. EO hasn't had a take on this matter. Do we really need to rope him into it? Do we need to really throw out the blitzcrank hook, the pudge meat hook? Do we really need to be doing this in every video, man? I feel like you are, in a sense, creating perhaps more hostility than necessary here.
We all know this by now, right? We're gacha players. Well, not the parents. Hoyoverse didn't stop there though. They decided to collect personal data from kids without the parental permission, which is a direct violation of COPPA. User IDs, device, and
I think that was one part people really didn't pick up on. They now know the spending habits of children. And this is obviously like a very dystopian take, right? But imagine if they now know the spending habits of like these kids under the age of like 13. And now they can design specific things that are meant to prey on the vulnerability and lack of intelligence in that audience in future banners or revenue generating measures. I'm not saying it's happening. But they have the data to do it. Yeah, that's a little that doesn't sound very good, does it?
Information, even friends lists, all handed over to
a lot of games already do that. It's been proven. I bet. Yep. Hey, let's prey on the most vulnerable parts of the population. Oh, but that's where the FTC steps in, and that's why they're doing a good job with this.
Advertisers like it was a casual group chat. This wasn't just shady, this was straight up illegal. So finally, the government decided to step in and say that enough is enough. And while 20 million doubloons might be pocket change for a company as massive as Hoyoverse, it is still a win for the players. players. It is a signal that
True.
these predatory mechanics aren't going to fly forever. Now,
Well, and think about it this way. $20 million is the first fine. Well, if they get caught doing it again, I wouldn't be surprised if the next fine is a lot bigger. This is, in all effects, even though $20 million is quite a bit, it's still a slap on the wrist for a company like as big as Hoyoverse. So imagine what the second one will be if it does happen.
let me give credit where it's due. One creator actually approached this issue with the nuance it deserves. Tectone. In his video, Tectone broke down the predatory nature of gacha games with a mix of clarity and brutal honesty. He didn't sugarcoat anything, but he also made the issue digestible for anyone watching.
Tectone himself has fallen victim to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these digital PNGs. And so if there's anybody that knows firsthand how debilitating and how damaging spending on a gacha game can be, he's quite literally like one of the most notable cases. Staff of Homeless, yes.
Why do you think I remind everybody at max you could be spending upwards of $300 just to guarantee one unit? Making consumers aware of how much they're spending is very important to me as a guy who has destroyed his life by being unaware of how much I was truly spending.
Not pre-watched. Not pre-watched.
What I appreciated most is that he didn't villainize the players. He called out the systems for what they are: manipulative, exploitative, and decide to keep you spending. He provided real examples and made his arguments easy to follow. That was the kind of video that should have put this issue to rest. And honestly, I thought it did. I watched the video, nodded along, and I thought, well, there's that, and the community's informed, and we gotta move on.
I think Tectone himself will tell you that when he spent all that money, when he quote unquote, literally his words, ruined his life, I'm pretty sure he'll be super upfront in telling anybody about that he was stupid, that he wasn't doing things that made a lot of sense, that he didn't have all of the details, and that he was, by all definition of the word, dumb. But that's the thing. Just because you're dumb doesn't mean you deserve to have your life ruined. And I think that's very fair. Just because you're dumb and stupid at a point in time doesn't mean that it's like okay for you to be preyed upon and literally farmed and milked like a cow.
Gotta make a video on it. And then, like an absolute idiot, I opened Twitter, and oh boy, what I found there was an—
Asmund says otherwise. He didn't. I think his words on the situation quite literally were, just because someone is dumb and stupid doesn't mean that there shouldn't be regulations to prevent them from being abused. Proof?
I watched the video, nodded along, and I thought, well, there's that, and the community's informed, and we gotta move on. I don't gotta make a video on it. And then, like an absolute idiot, I opened Twitter, and oh boy, what I found there was an—
That was your first mistake. Never open Twitter nowadays. In my opinion, a lot of content creators should stop using Twitter. That's my personal opinion on it, because for some reason, it's like the second Twitter opens, and then they have the ability to write paragraphs about a subject. It's like them not speaking it out loud when they're used to like actively reading chat on what their takes are leads to them making really bad takes. Like they need somebody to proofread what they're writing like they're talking in front of chat, and things would be so much better for their public perception. I'm not going to name any names here, but the fact that you are already able to insinuate who I'm talking about from the very general statements I'm making only further reinforces my argument.
enough to make me question my entire existence. Turns out, not everyone in the creator space is interested in holding these companies accountable. Enter Doro 44 with this absolute gem of a take. Not to defend the billion-dollar company, but if you're letting your kids spend money in a gacha game, that's bad parenting. I'm not sorry.
This is what I mean. Okay, he already called it out, so I'll just dive into it. Not to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, but here's how I'm going to defend the multi-billion-dollar company. This is the part about like proofreading that I'm talking about. Like Brand does it. He's like, I'm not really mad, but here's why I'm mad. It's just anybody would read this and just be like, bro, you're literally contradicting yourself in like less than a sentence. You are contradicting yourself in your opening statement in less than like a single sentence, within like 10 words. And it's super clear that it's happening on like a reread, and it's super clear that this would be happening if you just had somebody else read this. Y'all need tweet editors. You need tweet editors at this point. Or you need to just fucking reread what you write before posting it. Or even better yet, delete it if it's like clearly contradictory and not like indicative of what you're saying.
I dislike
Manipulation.
as much as the next guy. Yeah, that's some bad stuff. Boo.
People who don't have kids or understand kid mentality always seem to have these takes. Keep in mind that video game companies literally hire psychologists to help them make more money off predatory practices like FOMO. It is, literally speaking, from a position of ignorance to be making generalizing statements about parenting and stuff when you don't have kids. And I think more specifically, when you're not even talking to people that do have kids. Because I 1000% do believe that if Doro and Pokey had actually talked regularly with people that have kids, this would not be their take. It's like, oh man, my kid really grinded my gears the other day. They got into the cookie jar and they ate a whole 20 cookies when I wasn't looking. And it's like, that's a regular occurrence. Because they're dumb and stupid and young. That's the kind of dumb and stupid shit that they do. And honestly, buying stuff in a gacha game is almost as easy, if not easier, than sneaking a couple of cookies and eating ice cream when you're not supposed to, eating the whole bag of jelly beans. Yeah, it's like, it's really not that far of a stretch, and it's a pretty normal occurrence for a kid to do. And so it's just like, making it sound like it's like this outlandish, oh, you must be the worst parent in gacha gaming if you let this happen. It's like, no, it just happens to every single parent. That's the reason why Smack's take on this was so important, since bro is a dad. And you want to know what Smack's take is on this, being an actual parent? He's like, yeah, it's the game's fault. Smack said it's the game's fault. And I would value Smack's take on the matter a lot more than somebody that doesn't actually have kids. You can't watch them 24/7. They have a degree of independence. They can literally walk. They have mobility. They're not 3 years old forever, and then you can like literally backseat everything that they're doing.
Boo, don't like it. But
the take was basically, it's not the company's fault for designing a system that preys on ignorance and addiction. It's your fault for not outsmarting them. Well, Doro44, you gave me the bullet, and now let me shoot the target, which is the apple on top of your head. So let's walk through the Google Play page for Genshin Impact. Straight off the bat, you see in-app purchases. But hey, 99% of games nowadays have that.
I don't think there's a single game that doesn't have in-app purchases, unless you have to buy it outright. And even if you do have to buy the game outright, usually there are still additional in-app purchases in the game.
Even Candy Crush has it. So most people are just gonna ignore that, right? And then they see that it's rated for 12+, meaning that it's a kid's game. And then you see these animations, ooh, very cool, colorful, and it looks like it's a fighting game, the elderly thinks. They scroll down and look at the tags. Oh wow, top 4 adventure game, action role-playing, anime, fantasy, isekai, explorer. Oh my god, where does it say gacha games? Well, okay, so the parent reading this is probably not gonna know anything predatory, right? Well, let me know more about the game. Now, I'm not gonna read all that, but in case some people do read these, let's look for some keywords. Gacha. Oh, no gacha. Gambling. Pity. Loot box. Oh, so no mention of it at all in the Google Play page. So basically, even if the parents looked through this essay, they still wouldn't know about the predatory practices. Now let's see the data safety. It's really interesting how they collect financial information too. I wonder what this is for. Don't you think it's for, you know, making it easier for you to spend more? So now, do they tell you upfront that their systems are basically glorified gambling? No. Do they mention the addictive mechanics, the sky-high price points, or the emotional manipulation that's baked into every banner?
Hey guys, Mabuika and Solali's banner is ending in a couple of days, or has already ended by the time you're seeing this. And you got those 20 pulls coming right after. You got those 20 pulls coming in the mail right after that. Ooh, yep, but that doesn't feel too good, does it, buddy? Especially if you're just a couple of pulls off pity, buddy. Doesn't it? Kind of makes you want to spend a little bit. Oh, I'll just get it back. Oh, it's fine if I just buy the 20 pulls right now. I'll just, you know, I'll just get them back. It's like I didn't buy them in the first place.
No. Instead, they give you colorful, cartoonish visuals, slap a 12+ age rating on it, and write a vague description like, explore a magical world with your friends. It's like slapping a smiley face sticker on a slot machine. Now imagine you're a parent who knows nothing about the game. You see these visuals.
Hey, but you know what? Parental diff. They should have gone past the first 20 minutes of the game before the gacha is unlocked. They should have taken time out of their busy day, out of potentially working 2 jobs to support their family. They should have taken the time to actually play the game, look up every single mechanic in it to ensure that there's no way that there's like a financial loopholes or something that'll get their kids spending. It is the parents' fault. How dare they not micromanage every single thing that their kid is doing when they're at a relatively independent age, to ensure that these sort of measures aren't there when they clearly weren't at any point during their childhood and when they were raised. Yep, it's a parental diff For sure.
You check the rating and you read the description that sounds more like Disney movie than a mobile game. Of course you think, oh, this seems harmless. My kid can play this. And suddenly your kid is asking for more Primo Gems or Crystal because the card got declined. And you're $1,000 in the hole before you even realize what happened. Do you see the flaw in your logic? I hope so. I really do. Now let's go back to Twitter because here comes Mr. Pokey, the LeBron James of defending Hoyoverse.
Greatest of all time, baby.
Baby's gonna choke on a toy. It was a stupid baby anyway. Like, don't take the toys out of my Kinder Egg.
When you read the tweet, you might think that it makes sense. Well, yes, there is some truth to it, but let me tell you how Mr. Pokey is either just wrong or lacks information. All right, let's paint the picture. I am so hyped for the new character, but oh no, I'm out of in-game currency. What do I do? And when I push buttons, I immediately get to the crystal top-up page. All right, then let's just top up then, right? Now look at that. My credit card is already...
Damn, bro almost docked himself. Hey, why is this payment information saved, buddy? Why is this payment information so easy to access, buddy? You've been spending a little bit on a Genshino Impacto, buddy?
You link one click and boom. I just spent real money. Did you...
Bro literally spent whatever amount fucking 81,000 IDRs are for the video. What? Big whalin'. Hoyo sponsor this man immediately.
Catch how effortless that was? I didn't need a password, an extra step, nothing. That's how easy it is to spend money in this game. Now imagine a kid and...
To be fair, you have to have the payment information saved in the first place. But think about it this way, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say that you put the payment information in so that you could buy like this one little $5 thing for the kid. Because they were like, oh, mommy, oh, daddy, can I get $5 for this thing in my game? It's only $5, I promise. You spend $5, right? You're like, okay, like this ain't too big of a deal. It's gonna make him happy. It's gonna make him shut up, right? No problem at all for me to do that. And then they proceed to have that information saved, and then boom, they're basically able to buy anything else with one click of the button.
Using a parent's phone where the credit card is already linked to the Google Play Store or an Apple App Store. Kids don't understand money the way adults do. And these games sure aren't making it any harder for them to spend. Well, I guess that's just a lapse in judgment, right? But here's the thing, Mr. Pokey. You should have known that it's that easy to get in-game currency because you've wailed on these games
That's actually a caught moment. That's actually a caught moment.
multiple times. So you, of all people, should understand how frictionless and dangerously simple this process is. But here's what made me lose faith in humanity. The comments. The flood of people agreeing, doubling down, and even taking it further to these takes. We are simping for Dawei. Oh my god. And I can't stress this enough. I felt sick, like genuinely nauseous. I felt like I want to vomit. I am baffled. Watching these grown-ass adults defend predatory systems in real time felt like I was getting cut. I feel so disgusted, bro. But then finally, some sanity in this conversation. Thank God for creators like Gacha Smack, who decided to actually focus on the
creators who actually have a kid, who know what kids act like. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Mr. Pokey and Doro, they seem like they don't interact with kids on a daily basis, but they 1000% do in their Twitch chats, in their YouTube comment section, their YouTube live chats. They are interacting with kids like this all the time. 1000%. Every creator does. And at this point, they should know that some people are like really dumb. Really dumb. And I think it's the part about like having like an actual kid and seeing like how actively stupid they are outside of like a username, outside of like a Twitch profile, that will paint the bigger picture.
Real issue. It's not about bad parenting. It's about how these companies deliberately design their games to exploit ignorance. This isn't an accident. This is the plan. Gacha companies rely on the gap in knowledge to rope in kids and by extension, their parents' wallets. They design their games to be just vague enough to avoid raising red flags until it's too late. The real thing is that the industry knows parents don't understand these systems. And instead of being transparent, they double down on keeping it that way. So when creators like Doro44 and Mr. Pokey say, well, just be a better parent, skill issue, parenting issue, it's not only ignorant, it's downright insulting. This isn't about parents being careless. It's about these systems being engineered to exploit people who don't know better. These games are practically designed to be predatory. And instead of holding the companies accountable, you are out here blaming the victims. Bravo. Guys, stellar work. Oh my god, you're doing an amazing job at being a dumbass. At this point, if you're a creator who can't see that, or worse, chooses to ignore it, you are not just missing the point. point, you are part of the problem. Since when did content creators, the very people who thrive because of their communities, decide that siding with the billion-dollar company was the hill they wanted to die on?
Well, how else are they gonna get the sponsorships, man? Come on, Glaive. Come on, Glaive. You already know the answer to this one, buddy. How else are they gonna get the sponsorships?
Like, what are you even gaining from this? Seriously, who are you trying to impress? Because it sure as hell isn't the players who made your platform what it is. Let's not forget that content creators are supposed to represent. You keep us hyped during the slow patches when nothing exciting is happening in the game. You're the reason players stick around, eagerly waiting for the next update or banner. You bring personality, energy, and fun to the grind. Without these content creators, half of these games would lose their staying power rapidly. So imagine the disappointment when the same people we look for passion and relatability are suddenly turning around and saying, actually, it's the players' fault that these systems screw them.
I'll be honest, y'all are just greedy and stupid. Let's be real here. Y'all just greedy and stupid. Let's move on.
Excuse me? You're not just missing the mark, you're straight up betraying the audience that built you up. The audience that trusted you to speak for them, not down to them. And for what? A pat on the back from Dawei? A feature on its trailers? Because let's be honest, these companies don't care about you. They don't care about your content. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about how funny you are. The only reason they even acknowledge creators is because you bring attention to their game. But the moment you stop being useful, you will be treated like the rest of us, just another number in their revenue reports. They will cut you off like they did to Nerumero. They'll ghost you, and they will never tell you why, and you're just gonna be left in the dust, while other content creators are now getting the early access that you will never get again. It be your own damn people, man. Your own colleagues. Are we not fighting for the same cause? To make these games better, more enjoyable, and less exploitative? Or is that just too much to ask now? Because if you're out here defending billion-dollar companies instead of standing up for your own community, then what's the point?
Damn, bro's spitting. I would love to see a reaction by Doro or Pokey to this, at least this part of the video. Bro is just, he's like actually mad. He's like actually mad. And I'm going to be honest, I can't really hold it against him at this point for being mad because everything he's spat is pretty much straight facts. I think the one thing that he might not be 100% on is like content creators holding people to this game. The thing holding people to their game, like Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact or ZZZ or Wuwa, is the whole sunk cost fallacy of no return. And that grip is a lot stronger with games like HSR and games like Genshin Impact, right? That have naturally been a lot longer. I do think the sunk cost fallacy is a little bit stronger than the whole content creator pull. So the CC pull is definitely a part of it, but I do think that's a bigger element of it.
At the end of the day, man, we need to remember this. The community is what gives these games life, not the corporations, not the billion-dollar marketing campaigns. It's the community. Remember your damn role. We are here to entertain, inform, and fight for better, not to shell for billion-dollar fucking companies.
Damn, bro went off. Damn, bro went off, bro. Damn, bro went off. My final take on this vid is bro spat a lot of facts. He gave the kind of like cold hard truth on the matter of this regulation is perfectly fine. This regulation is something that was needed. And getting into this whole debacle of like, oh, like it's a parenting skill diff. Oh, the parents are stupid. Oh, how is this even happening in the first place? When it's pretty demonstrably clear how easy it is for these things to happen. It's such a close-minded, sheltered, shallow take that, again, if one person saw it and edited it, if these guys had a tweet editor, if these guys were just like had less ego about them being right about everything that gets validated by their echo chamber chats, then they wouldn't be making these god-awful fucking takes in the first place. And there needs to be like some way for them to just be like checked, either by having more dissenters in their chat or like just sending out a fucking tweet to people to like proofread it before posting it, because it's just, the takes can be so easily picked apart with almost no effort at all, and it just makes you look stupid for no reason. Let me know what you all think. I thought Glaive did an amazing job. Peace out.